Was there any foreshadowing in the family dynamic, say, between, this kind of, because this tragedy happened when you were 19, because you must have at times reflected back and said, were there signs? Did I see things? Or when your father did kill your mother, did it seem to come out of nowhere?
It didn't come out of nowhere. The irony of it, like in hindsight with most things, that stereo system, if we back up to that stereo system, that was like his love. It was a beautiful system, and we had to clean it on Saturday, but to clean it, we weren't allowed to touch it. So clean it, but don't touch it, in a weird way of joking about it, like, don't screw it up.
Okay, right.
Don't screw it up. Don't push the buttons. Everything's set to where they're supposed to be at.
Okay.
He gave me that system. And the irony of it is, it was right towards the very end of his life. He started giving things away, and he helped me move it into my first apartment.
Yeah.
And it was just like, for me, like, I was like very excited. Like, I get to jam this amazing system out for the first time.
It's certainly not my area of expertise, but there is some sense that when people are thinking about taking their own life, they start giving stuff away.
Yeah, that is one of the signs. Not knowing that then, I certainly look back at it. He gave me a lot of stuff towards the end, and that was his pride and joy.
Yeah,
to just give it away. Like, he's like, I don't need it anymore. Well, what do you? I don't.
So, and you can go. I like I said, I'm not trying to jump around the story because, like I said, it's to me, in looking at your life, it casts this sort of shadow, and that's not to put the shadow on you. It's just like, how does it not?
Yeah.
The circumstance, you get called, there's a hostage situation, the cops pick you up, you don't really totally know what's going on.
Right.
They take you to a house down the road, and this whole scene plays out. Am I wrong in thinking you must have replayed that day in your head like 1,000 times?
Almost every day of my life.
Yeah. Do you look back and think, I could have done this, I should have done that? It's such an extreme circumstance. I think that's why I even struggle for what the right question is,
The struggle is, could I have done something? And the answer is no, I couldn't have. But it took a long time to come to those terms. Yeah. Because I do know, like, he was asking to speak with me. But in those situations, he also had to give something up to get what he needed or what he wanted, what he was requesting, to have a conversation with me, or to even get a pack of cigarettes from them. There was like, you got to give something else up. And he had nothing else to give up other than to give my mother to them. So there was no negotiating at all. It was just really a standoff. So yeah, I outplay that in my brain a lot, almost probably every day, I would think.
And then after this happens, sometimes I think about when people go through an extreme circumstance, I always try to think, like, what happens the next day when you wake up? And that, it's not a dream, right? It's like, this is a reality. And now I have to sort through, you have siblings, you have relatives, now this is your story too.
Right.
Here we are,
30 years later,
and we're talking about it.
We're talking about it.
It's part of your life.
Yeah. It is a weird wake up the next day moment, because in an instant, it's gone. Everything that you knew before the first 18, 19 years of my life, just gone. Like,
does it make you question the happy times?
I think it makes me try to embrace the happy times more and be thankful for those moments, because the darker times always outshadow the happier times. I have to dig deep to find those happy moments.
Yeah.
And the harder ones come up so easily.
Yeah. And were you able to eventually make peace with it all, or not?
Yeah. Well, I think part of writing this book was the main reason why I wanted to write the book with Jeremy, because I knew I needed to deal with it. Although I've dealt with a lot of it. I spent 30 years of trying to figure out all the emotions that I had towards my father, being okay with what he did. And then trying to justify and smooth everything out so I can live a normal life and not be
and then
shadowed.
Being a parent yourself.
Yeah, and how not to bring those things into my life, my children.
How old are your kids?
19 and 16.
I knew they were.
Yeah.
How do you at some point sit them down and say, by the way, this is part of our family story?
I had to wait until they were old enough to I felt they could understand it, and also happened to release a documentary of my life called For Grace. And I didn't want my children to either somehow find it on Netflix or one of their classmates see it and go, hey, your dad. And so they
had to hear it from you.
I wanted them to hear it from me. It was very important. So we sat down and I tried to make the environment as comfortable as possible. We just pillows on the bed and just made it just a loving environment and just kind of walked down the path of what it was.
What was their reaction?
I think, they were crying and we were all crying and we were trying to, I was trying to make it as happy as possible. I was trying not to cry because I didn't want them to feel, I was trying to tell them that I was okay with what had happened.
Sure.
And that they needed to be okay with it, but it was important for them to understand, where their grandfather and their grandmother are and, they're not present in their life.
Yeah. So, and thank you for being open to talk about that,
Absolutely. Yeah.
Was it hard in writing the book to go into detail? It's one thing to sort of talk about it in a context like this, but like to actually sort of spell it out because it is a story like any other.
Yeah. Well, with Jeremy, because we're such great friends, it made it the process.
Jeremy's the ghostwriter, or is he listening?
He's the actual writer. I should be labeled as the ghostwriter because I didn't actually write it. It was hours and hours of conversation like this.
But it's in your voice.
It's in my voice, yeah. And, having such a good friend be able to tell your story made me be able to tell my story with ease, with comfort, with the ability to be really like an open book and with no judgment, zero judgment from his side. And I was always worried about, I was shameful of my story. I didn't tell hardly anybody through my 30 years of that. I didn't tell anybody. I mean, it was very secretive. I was ashamed of it.
Yeah.
And I had to, until Grace came out, I just kind of buried it.
Yeah. And what's weird about something like that, weird's not the right word, but unfortunate is, I can't remember what the exact circumstance was, but it was one of the first times that I met you in life. And somebody said, they basically sort of, oh, you should know this thing about him. So before I even knew you as a person.
Oh, sure.
It becomes this like thing, but curiosity is not the right word, but it's like, oh, and by the way,
yeah.
And I think as humans, if you have any heart, you feel empathy, but then you don't really know what to do with that.
Absolutely right.
And that's why I said in preparing to talk to you in this context, it's like, how do we sort of put it in context? Because really what I'm interested in is your great gift with food,
Yeah.
But I can't, because you're an artist in my eyes. How does it not affect your artistry?
Yeah. Well, I honestly, I struggled with that for a long time. And
can you slow that down a little bit and explain how that works?
So I had a great conversation with the New York Times, Kim Severson, and she interviewed me a few weeks ago, and she gave me the answer that I was looking for 30 years as to, this tragedy in my life. I always struggle with the idea of, had it not happened, would I be where I am today? And I can't say that I would be. I don't know if I would be. I think everything that happens in life is usually for a reason, and it does go on to shape who you are today.
Yeah.
And if my parents were still alive, I don't know if I'd be living in Chicago. I don't know if I'd have the drive that I have.
Sure.
I don't know if I'd be so successful. And she said, that was their last gift to you.
Mm.
And I never thought of it that way. And there was something that I was looking for. I was looking for the reason. So I think all that energy, I kind of just took what happened and shifted it and full bore focused into my art.